The name's Lt Roger Bratcher. I've been on the Oklahoma City Police Department 30 years. On the day of the bombing, I was assigned to Spring Lake Division day shift, which starts at 7 a.m. It was like any other regular day. We began the day by lineup and then answering just what we'd call regular routine patrol calls, accidents, alarms, report calls. The day just continued like regular, and we usually would take a break at Northwest 13th and Broadway where we'd get a drink. It was there used to be an old Happy Food store there that most of the street officers and the night shift and officers on duty called it the Barrel. I'd got there probably about 8:45, got my drink, and I was standing right at the front door speaking with the clerk who was working behind the counter when the bomb went off. At the explosion, the only way I can really describe it's like a sonic boom if you've ever heard one. The noise was so loud that it actually knocked pictures off the wall inside the store, knocked things off the shelf, and shook the entire store almost like an earthquake, a very fast earthquake. Like I said, I was standing at the front door. I opened the door and looked towards downtown from there and saw what can only be described as like a nuclear blast, a fireball going into the sky, 1,000 feet high probably. I advised dispatch over the air that there'd been a large explosion in downtown Oklahoma City and that I was en route. I got inside my car, engaged all the emergency equipment, and went southbound on Broadway as fast as I could. Something that I distinctly remember about that is that there was no traffic in front of me. It was like all the cars after the explosion had pulled to the side of the road, not knowing also what had just happened. As I'm south on Broadway, I got into my car so quickly that I distinctly remember it to this day. There was glass and debris falling from the sky. It was striking my car. It sounded like it was raining almost. The glass hitting my car as I was trying to get down here to the scene as fast as I could. I pulled up here on 5th Street in front of what used to be the old YMCA building. And as I pulled up, there was nobody outside. I was by myself. There were cars on fire, smoke filled the air, down trees, down tree limbs and leaves. All kinds of debris blocked the roadway. I was only able to pull up the hill here a couple of hundred feet to where I was, like I said, directly in front of the old YMCA. I got out of my car, and right as I was getting out of my car, the doors to the YMCA opened, and everybody inside just started flooding out the front doors. I know that since it was a YMCA, I'm not sure if they had a daycare in there, had a daycare inside the YMCA, or if they had a camp going for kids, but there was a lot of youth that was coming outside with adults. I noticed that there was a lot, I couldn't say a number, but a lot of injured people now coming out of the YMCA with cuts mainly on their face, head, neck, arms, anything that was exposed if they were near the windows, any of the windows of the building when the explosion occurred. I didn't have any type of emergency equipment in my car, not much anyway, not for that number of people. So as people were coming out the doors, there was a lot of men that I was getting their shirts and wrapping around the kids mainly because the kids were bleeding. So I was using people's shirts and wrapping around their heads, asking other people to compress on their wounds. And we had quite a large group outside the doors, and we were trying to do everything we could to stop the bleeding. I don't think any of those injuries were major critical type injuries, just lots of cuts that would probably required stitches in several areas. But we just did, with the help of a lot of the citizens, we did the best we could. We got them down to the street corner down here at 5th and Broadway, and I just began stopping cars. As a car would pull up, they would stop and look at us, and I'd ask them to open their doors, and they would open their doors, and I'd pack several people, or as many as I could, in a car, and I'd just yell at them, "Go to the hospital." And they would take off going up Broadway to the hospital. I did that, I don't know how long, in that type of situation. It seems like time stops. To me, it seemed like I did it very quickly, but who knows how long it took me to put that number of people into cars and send them away from the scene. As soon as I got all the people out of the scene, away from the YMCA, I began walking towards where the blast was. Like I said, just walking in the street, there were car parts, trees, fires were still everywhere, car alarms going off. I met up with a fireman who was by himself, and me and the fireman we got to where the bomb blast was, right directly in front of the building. During that entire time, I thought it was a gas line explosion. I had no idea what had happened. We just got to where the bomb blast was. There was still fire all around it, smoke. I remember it being very large in diameter and quite deep. It looked like it was 3, 4, 5 foot deep hole in the ground. And that's why originally I kind of thought it was a gas explosion. And then I started thinking, and kind of crazy now, but at the time I kind of looked up, the hole was so big, I thought maybe a military aircraft lost a bomb. In all seriousness, for the front of the building being gone, it sounds crazy. I thought maybe a military aircraft lost a bomb. And so me and the fireman began walking north into where now the survivor tree's at. There was a parking lot there, and cars were literally moved 20, 30, 50 feet from where they were parked, all pushed in a radius away from where the blast was at. We found several deceased people in that parking lot. We covered them up the best we could and just began making our way back towards the main building and getting citizens out towards Broadway, where now fire ambulances, fire trucks, and everybody had been gathering. We were just kind of not even triaging them in this area. We were getting them to Broadway where we could load them up and get them transported. I only had 5 years on the department when the bombing occurred. The last 25 years it's flown by, for sure. It's made you realize that domestic terrorism is very real. It's not always foreign terrorism. It makes you be more aware of your surroundings. It really opened, I think, on the police department and officers, it opened our eyes on how to handle mass incidents like this. And I think from that, officers and command who were here during that actually helped in our response to our 2 tornadoes that went through the city. Just with the way we respond now to incidents, the training that police officers now get on a yearly basis responding to mass incidents. And I don't know, it for a long time it kind of made you, for me, I don't want to say you lose trust in humanity because of somebody being able to blow up a bomb in front of a building where just innocent people are and children. But on the other side of that coin, the citizens of the city and around the nation who responded to help us in our hour of need was just unbelievable and really eye-opening to how other police departments and agencies and fire departments from all over came here to help us. And, you know, the gratitude I have for them can never be expressed.